Consideration. One of the first great intellectual feats of a young child is learning how to talk, closely followed by learning how to count. From early childhood, we're so bound up with our system of numeration that it is a feat of imagination to consider the problems faced by early humans who had not yet developed this facility. Careful consideration of our system of numeration leads to the conviction that, rather than being a facility that comes naturally to a person, it is one of the great and remarkable achievements of the human race. It is impossible to learn the sequence of events that led to our developing the concept of number. Even the earliest of childs had a system of numeration that, if not advanced, was sufficient for the tasks that they had to perform. Our ancestors had little use for actual numbers. Instead, their considerations would have been more of the kind, is it enough, rather than how many, when they were engaged in food gathering, for example. However, when early humans first began to reflect on the nature of things around them, they discovered that they needed an idea of numbers simply to keep their thoughts in order. As they began to settle, grow plants, and herd animals, the need for a sophisticated number system became paramount. It will never be known how and when this numeration ability developed, but it is certain that numeration was well developed by the time humans had formed even the semi-permanent settlements. Evidence of early stages of arithmetic and numeration can be readily found. The indigenous peoples of Tasmania were only able to count one, two, many. Those of South Africa counted one, two, two and one, two twos, two twos and one, and so on. But in real situations, the number and words are often accompanied by gestures to help resolve any confusion. For example, when using one, two, many types of system, the word many would mean look at my hands and see how many fingers I'm showing you. This basic approach is limited in the range of numbers that it can express. But this range will generally suffice when dealing with the simpler aspects of human existence. The lack of ability of some cultures to deal with large numbers is not really surprising. European languages, when traced back to their earlier version, are very poor in number words and expressions. The ancient Gothic word for 10, tachon, is used to express the number 100 as tachoned, tachoned. By the 7th century, the word heon had become interchangeable with the tachon or hunt in the Anglo-Saxon language, and so 100 was denoted as huntiontic, or 10 times 10. The average person in the 7th century in Europe was not as familiar with numbers as we are today. In fact, to qualify as a witness in the court law, a man had to be able to count 1 to 9. Perhaps the most fundamental step in developing the sense of number is not the ability to count, but rather to see that a number is really an abstract idea instead of a simple attachment to a group or of particular objects. It must have been within the grasp of the earliest humans who conceived that 4 birds are extant from 2 birds. However, it is not an elementary step to associate the number 4 as connected with 4 birds. To the number 4 as connected with 4 rocks, associating a number as one of the qualities of a specific object is the great hindrance to the development of a true number sense. When number 4 can be registered in the mind as a specific word, independent of the object being referenced, the individual is ready to take the first steps toward the development of a notational system of numbers and from there to arithmetic. Tracing the very first stages in the development of the numeration can be seen in several living languages of today. The numeration system of Tsimshian language in British Columbia contains 7 distinct sets of words for numbers and according to the class of item being counted. For counting flat objects and animals, for counting objects and time, for people, for long objects and trees, for candles, for measures, and for counting when no particular object is being numerated. It seems that the last is a later development, while the first 6 groups show the relics of an older system. This diversity of number names can also be found in some widely used languages, such as Japanese. Intermixed with the development of number sense is the development of an ability to count. Counting is not directly related to the formation of number concept because it is possible to count by matching the items being counted. Against a group of pebbles, grains, or corn, the counter's fingers, the aids would have been indispensable to a very early stage who would have found the process impossible without some form of mechanical aid. Such aids, while